Hello everyone and welcome to the Sankofa flight that lands today in Sharpeville, a town in the south of Joburg in South Africa. We are landing here in Sharpeville on a bad day, one of those days when it's not so good to be black around here. So let me advise all black-skinned people on board to check their pass. These identity documents, those kind of passports used within the South African territory, which are imposed by the apartheid regime to limit and control the movement of black people. On this day of March 21st, 1960, there is a demonstration against the pass identification system, an event that got brutally repressed by the police. Get ready for a dive into the absurdity and violence of this brutal, racist, and yet supported or at least tolerated for a long time by many foreign powers in the name of their economic interest.
African History Daily by my daddy.
Regulating the movement of the black population, this unlimited workforce has always been a great temptation for the ruling power. As this regime got tougher, the fight against this pass system, the discriminations and all forms of enslavement of the black population, which organized numerous demonstrations all over the country, also intensified. It is in those conditions that in March 1960, at the call of a Pan-African Congress, a nationalist freedom group founded by dissidents of the ANC, hundreds of unarmed people gathered in front of the police stations across the country. The purpose of this non-violent demonstration is threefold: to symbolically sell their passes, to demand their repeal, and to demand the increase of daily wages. Their method of protest is therefore to meet in front of the police stations and to volunteer to be arrested for not wearing the pass. With this rather simple modus operandi, the black people of Sharpeville mass in front of the police station built in the middle of their township. The command of the police station is instructed to disperse the crowd consisting mainly of women, children, elderly, workers and employees, which manifest in a good atmosphere. But on a dreadful day, it doesn't look good to laugh or to be in a good mood. On a difficult day, laughter is taken by the police as aggression and relaxed faces are described as provoking. On a bad day, armed police may feel overwhelmed by unarmed women and children. Then at the edge of a panic, the poor policemen called for reinforcement, made a line in front of the entrance of the station, loaded their weapons, and put the crowd at stake. At the bend of an interpellation that went bad, at the entrance of the post, the police took fright and started shooting at sight. The toll is very heavy: 69 dead, several hundred wounded. All the victims died from bullets received in the back, and none carried a weapon. So as you can imagine, the usual ball of indignation began. The Pope's speech is followed by cascading messages of solidarity in Africa and internationally, messages that obviously didn't change the position of the regime, which remained strict and imposed a state of emergency before banning the two organizing movements, the African National Congress and the Pan-African Congress. 69 dead and hundreds of wounded in Sharpeville, who convinced Nelson Mandela on the limit of peaceful civil demonstration and campaign and led him to found, during the following year, the armed wing of the ANC, called Umkhonto we Sizwe, the spearhead of the nation. 69 dead and hundreds of wounded in Sharpeville, for whom the same Mandela, after becoming president, will go to Sharpeville to sign the adoption of the new constitution of the country in December 1996. 69 dead and hundreds of wounded in Sharpeville that South Africa remembers every year on March 21st as a Freedom Day and public holiday. Finally, 69 deaths and hundreds of wounded in Sharpeville, in memory of whom the United Nations adopted March 21st as International Day Against Racism. My African cliché of the day is a hope that human beings' ability to forget the past and reproduce the same mistakes is not infinite. As a proof of my fear, the incongruous idea of bringing a green identification card to seasonal workers in search of a possible job, reminiscent of the darkest moment in South African history. Controlling with a card the movement of the poorest people in the two richest provinces of South Africa is a flagrant violation of Section 21st of the Constitution, which recognizes the freedom of movement for all. As summarized with irony by a Daily Maverick journalist, the French are known for their pastry, the Italians for their pasta, the Saudis for their oil, the British for their anorexic princesses, and we South African for oppression. And concluding bitterly, the past is in our DNA. And as for me, I let you reflect on your own cliches about what is written in our African DNA and think about all the victims of absurdity and human violence like in Mali this weekend, and I hope to see you tomorrow on the new Sankofa flight. Thank you.